Aurie Styla, and you're listening to Replay Gang, the show where a special guest tells me about their life journey through the video games they've played along the way. This week, I'm joined by the game developer Emily Pitcher, founder of Sondering Studio. Emily is deep into the world of indie gaming and absolutely schooled me on a bunch of titles I'm excited to check out, as well as some truly out there game mechanics. She's got a fascinating perspective on games and gaming as a whole, and I learned loads in this brilliant conversation. Don't forget to give us a rating wherever you get your podcast. I would personally say 5 stars, but it's up to you to be honest. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend. Anyway, here's Emily. What's going on, everybody? We are back with another great episode, and my guest today is a brilliant indie game developer and the founder of Sondering Studio. She's also a content creator on Instagram where she makes videos about making and playing video games and promoting inclusivity in the gaming industry. Not only that, but she also made Forbes' 30 Under 30 in 2024. Please welcome to the show, Emily Pitcher. Emily, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for joining. Right now, I want to know, what time is it where you are? Because you are, it's daytime I can see, and it's nighttime.
Oh yeah, it's 10 a.m.
You're in LA?
Yeah, so this is the first thing that I'm doing today.
Oh, great. All right, first one. I appreciate that. Tell us firstly, before we get into you as an individual and your journey of gaming, tell us about Sondering Studio.
Yeah, so Sondering Studio is a company that I founded. It's honestly just a group of my college friends and I. A lot of us met during UCLA and we joined the game development club, and we just realized that we enjoyed making the same games. So I realized okay, why don't we just take this from our dorm rooms and actually make it legit and try to make games as a group. But I will say actually that Sondering Studio is currently on a pause or hiatus. I have taken the brutal task of trying solo development for the first time, which is essentially where you
Ooh.
make the entire video game by yourself. So that's actually my main project right now. I'm making a psychological horror game called Lily's World XD. It is a
Okay.
game set in a young girl's computer, and you find her computer, learn more about her life, and discover her darkest secrets. I'm doing the coding, the UI, the writing, the design, whatever is in it, you
Wow.
name it, I'm doing it.
That's a huge task, because some people don't really realize that it's not just about the programming and designing and graphics. The story, you have to have a creative side of you that can create a storyline that grips people and takes them from the beginning to the end. Wow.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you say that the typical notion of game developers is programming. So
Yeah.
actually, this is my first time learning how to program. Before this, I focused more on
Okay.
design and storytelling. I studied English in college, so that's been my bread and butter with games. And for this
Oh,
game,
nice.
I'm forcing myself to learn how to code, which has been terrible.
Do you know what? I'll tell you a secret about me. I dropped out of, I went to University of East London when I was 18, and I dropped out. The course that I did was computer games programming, which is, as we know, programming video
Right.
games. But people don't seem to understand just how learning programming, if it's not something that, if you can't pick up a new language easily, it's a nightmare, because it is literally trying to learn a whole new language. But on top of that, if an element of the sentence is incorrect, there isn't someone on the other side going, oh, we kind of know what you meant. It's this whole thing can decompile incorrectly. And you have to try and find the elements of where you might have done a bit of wrong in the programming. I dropped out. I was terrible. So kudos to you. It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, I've always appreciated working with programmers because before this, I've only worked in groups. But now I extra appreciate when I work with programmers
Yeah.
because I realize even the smallest change in the game could cause bugs in the code. You have to
Yeah.
rework the code. They are truly the unsung heroes.
Amen. Round of applause to the programmers out there. Big shout out to you, and thank you for your determination and giving us some great games. So let me ask you, your journey in gaming, what was the first game you ever remember playing?
So the first game I remember playing was probably Webkins, which for those who don't know, it's where you would buy a
Webkins.
plushie from a store and then each plushie would have a code and you could play with a virtual pet. I was into the Webkins, the Neopets, the Club Penguins, but I didn't really see them as games. They were really games made for kids. When I
Mm.
was 14, I watched PewDiePie play The Last of Us, and it blew my
Okay.
mind that games could be this medium for powerful storytelling and fantastic
Mm,
art and design. And I became obsessed with gaming YouTubers. And in my senior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to go into storytelling, but I didn't
yeah,
know what medium yet. And I remember this guy in my high school told me, well, someone's job is to write the video games, right? And that just
yeah.
blew my mind, put me on this whole thing of, oh my God, I want to be a video game writer. So in my junior year of college, I joined UCLA's game development club, fell in love with it, and the rest is history.
Is history. You're so right with Last of Us as well. That story, the emotional roller coaster you're on when you watch that, even if you watch someone else play it and you don't play it yourself, it is. I mean, it's a reason why it's such a great television adaptation. Is because it's just how great they built the story in the game. Easily transfers over to a movie medium as well, or to television medium. So you are right in that.
I
The
remember
little
even just the prologue made me
Yeah.
emotional.
Like when everyone's kind of losing it and the driving through, and are you talking about that bit?
I'm talking about like Joel. Okay, I guess spoilers for the prologue.
If
But
they've missed this bit after how many years it's been, you can't say spoiler alert for anyone if it's been more than like 2-3 months and it's been a few years. So yeah, okay, go ahead.
so Joel has a daughter, not Ellie, who dies in the prologue. And that
Yes.
is kind of how he forms that bond with Ellie. So just that scene where his daughter passes away, it made me
Yeah.
emotional.
The times that I've been emotional has been some of the most silly times in gaming where the part of the story has taken me somewhere and other people go, what is wrong with you? Why are you emotional at that bit? And it's silly stuff like, I've said this before, Saints Row, I used to play that where you could look after your own gang and you
Right.
build like HQs and stuff. I get emotional when I've invested time in having all these people around me and then one of them dies in the game. And it's a silly game, but those elements there, and I go, oh my God, I've spent hours wanting to ride or die with you. And then when you die, I'm upset. But I didn't get upset with Last of Us. I know I have a really bad emotional kind of placement as to where I should be upset about things. I know it's crazy. Tell me about the toys, what do you call them? The pets that you bought? Because I don't know if I'm familiar with them.
Well, I think they're more so for the girlies. I will say that, although anyone can
Okay.
enjoy them. I think it's more so just a really big fan of plushies and toys and
Gosh,
anything
let me have a
cute
look
and
at these.
fluffy. And so, yeah, you could buy them. And I think on the paw, they would have a code and you could put the code in the website and then play with your webkins. And it would be like taking care of a virtual pet. So I think it was very like Tamagotchi-esque, if you know that.
See, I was just about to say, I'm looking at them now, and the idea sounds very like Tamagotchis. I used to
Mhm.
have those as kids on my keyring. Yeah.
I also loved Tamagotchi as a kid, and I've always had this idea to make a Tamagotchi horror game. I haven't done it yet, but I think I would love to do that.
Wait, a Tam- okay, so I'm getting a sense that you, especially with the game that you're developing now, I'm getting a sense that you like either dark horror or thriller kind of themed games. But how do you turn a cute Tamagotchi into a horror game?
Wait, I feel like the plot kind of just writes itself because in the Tamagotchi, you're supposed to take care of it, and if you don't take care of it, it dies, right? So, like, what
Yeah, of
about a
course.
Tamagotchi where you take care of it, but when you start to neglect it, the Tamagotchi fights back. It's like, why don't you love me? Why don't you care about me? Wasn't I once your prized possession? And then haunts you. I feel like that's perfect.
I've, it, I'm just thinking about it's like how if Pokemon like resented their owners and instead
Exactly. Perfect
you've
comparison.
neglected. I like the dark tone on it. Have you seen the Winnie the Pooh kind of the horror version where basically they've taken the characters from 100 Acre Woods like Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, etc. They literally have turned these cute characters into murderers, and they also eat the people that they murder as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. It's very much giving Five Nights at Freddy vibes, where it's like something like childlike that becomes horror and haunts you.
I'll be honest, I'm scared of games like that. Five Nights at Freddy, the eyes and the teeth, just the image of like the when I see it on like the PlayStation store, that you can download and play, the image of the teddy bear, I'm like, you know what, this probably isn't for me. I get too scared too easy.
Wait, I actually also get really scared. So even though I like horror, I more so like psychological horror rather than jump scare
Okay.
horror. So I've actually never played Five Nights at Freddy's. I have seen the movie, but I did
Yeah.
play a little bit of it in VR, and it was with like a group of friends, right? And I was like,
Oh,
oh
you
yeah, like I got this.
no.
I'm not scared of anything. And then I put on the
No way.
headset and I was like, oh no.
No way. You could not put me in a VR. No way. A VR headset with the thing right in
Yeah.
my face. No way.
It
No way.
was so much
I'd
scarier.
smash that thing. Do you remember like a console that you picked up, or even if it was PC gaming that you picked up and went, oh, I'm really involved in not just playing but also creating games?
Yeah, so in terms of like the first console that I really engaged with, it was definitely the
Mm.
Wii, but I wasn't really playing like anything like like what you think of like gamer type games. Like I
Yeah.
played the high school, this is embarrassing. High School Musical
No, no, go
karaoke
ahead.
game. They would have like the notes and then you have to like hit the notes with your voice. I would sing that. I remember one summer break I played it every single day and I made my parents listen to me
Mm.
sing. I'm sorry, mom and dad. And I think I played like the tennis game, or like
Yeah.
Wii Sports. But in terms of,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
actually, like, the traditional gaming, it was definitely PC. I remember I
Okay.
got my gaming PC as a sophomore in college, and it was
Mm.
life-changing. I could finally play all my favorite games. Because I remember before that, I was playing Fortnite on this really crappy laptop, and it would be, like, the pixels like, I remember I couldn't shoot because I just couldn't even see what was in front of me. It was definitely an upgrade when I got my gaming PC, and that is actually still the
Oh,
gaming PC I use today. I'm using the same PC for,
oh,
like,
nice.
I don't know, like 5, 6 years.
Don't be embarrassed about the High School Musical. Like we've had oh, what was the game that I played growing up? It was Prapper the Rapper on the first PlayStation.
Oh,
And you
wow.
didn't rap into the mic. You didn't rap into the mic, but you had to hear this guy rap on the screen and you had to play to the beat. Kind of like the DDR machines that you'd play in the
Oh,
arcades, but
yeah.
with the PlayStation. Exactly. So I'm not judging. I'm not judging at all. What about characters? Is there any character that you resonate with or that made you look at them and go, you know what, that is me, or that is me in the video game world?
Yeah, so I would say that first of all, even though a lot of the games you play are like very fantastical, for example, The Last of Us is
Mm,
about like a zombie revolution. I think what makes
mm,
those games so universal, even though its settings are so foreign to us, is just like the honesty and vulnerability in its writing. So like I would say like definitely
yes.
like Ellie was probably the first character that I really related to. But in terms of like I played a game and I was like, this is me. It was
Mm.
definitely this indie game called Night in the Woods. It is
Okay.
a game, a side scroller game where you play as May and you are a college dropout and you move back to your hometown and you start hanging out with your high school friends, but things are not the same as when you're in high school.
Okay.
The town is slowly shifting. It was really similar to me because when I was in college, I briefly dropped out. I took a gap semester and I was back in my
Okay.
hometown, except no one was there. Everyone else was still in college and things were the same but slightly different, but things didn't feel familiar anymore. And that game deals a lot with like mental health. It's also like very goofy, has a lot of like funny moments. And I felt like that story just really resonated with me. I was going through a lot emotionally at that time, but still like
Mm.
it's, little quirky, funny moments I really related to.
I'm gonna
I
look it
definitely
up.
feel like that was like probably one of the games that made me realize, oh, I'm not just a gamer, I want to be a game developer.
That's amazing. If you find a game that makes you not just like want to enjoy gaming, but actually create pieces of art like that, I think that's a beautiful thing. It's like as me as a comedian, there are comedians that I can watch that make me go, I need to go and write some more. I've never heard of Night in the Woods. There are a lot of indie games that I know that you're into. I mean, you play indie games and you
I'm
create
really into
indie
indie
games.
games.
I, and do you know what? I sometimes struggle finding some great indie games. How do you find some great indie games for yourself?
Being chronically online really helps that, finding good indie games. But I think once you
Mm,
get into a certain genre of game, you realize that the community is actually very small, especially as a
yeah.
developer. So, for example, I'm either into really cozy, wholesome games or games that are really messed up psychologically. I like the two sides of the spectrum. And yeah, when
Yeah.
I first started making wholesome games. It's actually the first horror game I'm ever made, the one I'm making right now.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I quickly went from playing the games to just meeting my favorite developers and realizing, oh,
Mm,
wait, all my favorite developers are all friends because the community is actually very tight knit. I
very
think,
small. Yeah, of course.
I also like definitely find recommendations through creators, and a lot of creators will specify on genres. So, for example, like there's a lot of creators who just focus on like cozy, wholesome games. So, if into that,
Mm.
I'll watch that. Or like I'm currently in my horror phase, I will say. So for me,
I
like
could
I've been
tell.
watching I've been
I
watching a
could
lot of like
tell.
YouTubers who play horror games, seeing what they play, and then downloading those games myself and then trying them out.
Okay, that's a good shout. I will not be looking for some of the darkest horror games to scare the life out of me. But I mean, in the genres that I do like, you are correct. So I like side-scrolling beat 'em up. So I'm a massive, I mean, Streets of Rage, I grew up playing that when I was a kid, all the way up until Streets of Rage 4 now. And when I think about it, there is a community of us that I can think of who I talk to, who I watch their videos. And they're just literally side-scrolling beat 'em up fans. So they go through those games, and because of them, I end up buying so much more of those ones as opposed to branching outside of a genre. Do you think it's better that you stick to the genre of kind of games that you like, or is it something that we should try and branch out of? Because I mean, there are some great horror games that you'll know about that I don't know about, and I'm telling myself, "Ooh, horror's not for me." But I might be missing out on some really good games.
Yeah, well, actually, this reminds me a lot of my programmer Peter. He works for Sondering Studio. So the types of games that he plays basically just sports games, like
Okay.
NBA 2K.
Mm.
Like he's really into like Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. But then when he comes to Sondering, I'll be like,
My
you like
guy,
that too?
sorry, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 was my childhood.
Yeah, it's really funny though, because like that's the games that he grew up playing. But then when it
Yeah.
comes to Sondering Studio, he's like, let's make a heartfelt game about familial trauma and coming of age and growing up and all of identity crisis. So I always found that
It sounds
very
like you guys have
funny.
influenced him. If he's gone from sports games to let's talk about the journey of growth and youth, and yeah, you guys have influenced him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good influence, I hope. But
Oh
I
yeah,
would
of
say, like,
course,
for
yeah.
me, before this year, actually, I was not a horror fan at all. I typically only
Okay.
played very heartfelt games, very cozy games, and I'd always had this game called Aurie recommended to me. And
I'm
Aurie
worried.
is a
Okay.
fucked up game. Like, you truly need to
Mm.
have mental fortitude to play the game. The twist is just, it's twisted. Okay, the twist is twisted. And
Okay.
I remember I played it. I remember like jaw dropped at my computer screen because again, I don't really like
Yeah.
jump scare horror. Like I'm not into like the whole monsters in your face thing. But I tried that one because it was
Mm.
psychological horror, and that really what made me go down the rabbit hole of like, oh wow, like horror games, they can be more than just gimmicky. They can also be powerful mediums of storytelling. And I think what's
Of
really
course,
great
yeah.
about horror games is that they are pushing the boundaries of what even is a game. So one of my favorite games that I played after that is Inscription, and it's also psychological horror. And some of
Okay.
the game mechanics that that game did blew my mind away. Okay, spoilers again for Inscription, but
No,
it's
go ahead.
a rogue like card deck building card game, and
Okay.
you battle against these strong figures. And one of the strong figures, he goes, I want you to take a file off your computer, a really, really big file, and we're going to turn
Okay.
that into a card. And depending on how big the file you choose on your computer is how powerful the card is. But let's say you
Oh
choose a
wow.
file on your computer and you die, you fail, that file on your computer is actually deleted.
Wait,
In
in
real
real.
life. So like let's say like I
No,
chose
no,
like a game to
that
put in,
sounds weird.
it would delete the game off your computer. Yeah.
Wait,
So
wait. Games shouldn't do this. Wait
but
a
I love
minute.
that
Hold on.
though. Also, if you ever played Kinito Pet, it literally doxes you. So, Kinito Pet is a horror game where it's like a, do you know like Clippy or like a desktop
Yes.
assistant? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a horror version of a desktop assistant, and in the game, it asks for your address, and so you type in whatever, and it deletes the address and goes, no, 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 I know your address, and it literally types in your address because it uses your IP address to find it.
Wait, this sounds like hack. That sounds. No, I'm not gonna call you insane, but that sounds. Wow, It's like you almost want somebody to hack you. I've never heard of a game like that.
Yeah,
That is really spun me.
I'll give one more example. So there's a game I played
Yeah,
recently
go ahead.
called, oh, I think it's like Who's Lila or Where's Lila? And in the game, a big event happens. I don't even remember what it was, but let's say it's like these two characters break up, there's a murder, I don't know, whatever big event it is. It happens on like a
Yeah.
certain date and time. So what you can do is you can set your computer to that date and time. Like literally go in your computer
Okay.
settings and be like, it's 2008, it's February 23rd, it's 8 p.m. And if you set your computer at that date, you can actually see the event play out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, these games are getting
I
really.
love that.
I see this. I see the psychological kind of creativity in this, where it's taking. This isn't about how great the graphics are. It isn't about how deep the lore of the game can be. It's literally, how can I mess with the mind of the game, of the player, by going, we're going to take almost this game outside of the constraints of the game and go into what is real and important to you, and go, hey, play this and look what we do. It's almost like you're teasing a hacker on the other side to mess with you. That's
Yes,
great.
I like that.
These are some interesting answers. I did not. Wow. Okay. What would you say the greatest game of all time is that you've
The greatest game
played?
of all time is Before
Yeah.
Your Eyes. It is not like these
Okay.
horror games, to be clear. It
It's
is
totally
one of the
different.
like
Okay.
heartfelt games. But that game is really unique mechanic. So it's called Before Your Eyes because it's about life flashing before your eyes.
Okay.
And you play
Okay.
as this young boy who's presenting his case to God about whether or not he should go to heaven or hell. And so like there's this
Okay.
river Styx that is essentially helping you prepare your case. And so what he does is like, okay, let's take you back to the first moment, the moment you were born, and let's look at important
Okay.
moments in your life. And it actually uses your webcam. So like the first memory maybe is like you're born, and when you blink, it goes to the next memory. Your first time getting a cat, you blink. Your first time playing the piano, you
Wait.
blink. Your
Wait.
mom celebrating your first birthday. It's so good.
Wait a minute. That again still sounds freaky because your camera is looking at you.
It's not horror. It's just supposed to be like heartfelt. But what's so
No,
great
I
about
know,
the
I
game-
know, but no, go carry on. Go ahead. Sorry.
What's so great about the game is that, like, I feel like if you don't cry, you don't have feelings. Like, it's a game where you do cry, and at the end, it's like you're sobbing so much that like you can't help but keep blinking. And like you just see all the scenes pass by you so quickly because you can't
Yeah.
stop crying. It's really good. It's only an hour and a half, and when
This-
it's on sale, it's only $2. $2 to have
Okay,
a
well-
life-changing experience.
People, if you are okay with some piece of software being able to integrate into your web camera, have fun at this game. What about the worst game you've ever played?
Okay, the worst game ever played, I'm not gonna lie, mobile games infuriate me. Mobile is where all the money's at in games. Like, we think
Of
that,
course,
like
yes.
PS5, computer. No, mobile debates
Oh, no,
all
no,
the
no.
other markets.
Mobile,
Yeah.
big time.
But it infuriates me because I feel like some of the practices that are used in mobile games are really predatory.
It's
or it's like,
it's highly
Yes.
unethical.
I agree. Or it's like
Yeah.
ad implosion. I can't even enjoy a
Oh,
game
yeah.
because all I'm doing is watching ads. And it really sucks because I feel like I love mobile because it's such an accessible medium. Like you don't need to have a gaming
Yeah.
PC to be able to play a game on your phone. A lot of people have phones. But the gameplay practices, I can't. So I always try to play
Oh,
games and then
definitely.
I inevitably end up deleting them off my phone.
I mean, this has been a huge thing for many years, and court cases that have come to many different programmers for creating games where you're just mining money out of people.
Mm-hmm.
There is an ethical problem there. So I do understand. I mean, it's not even a particular game. It's kind of the industry that goes, we are going
Yeah.
to suck as much money out of people's pockets as we can. There is definitely a need for legislation to limit just how much that happens.
Yeah, so
Yeah, there
actually,
does need to be better practices.
I saw a TikTok of this girl, and she was like, "Oh my God, my sister." So she's playing Genshin Impact, her sister, which is it's like a gacha game. The equivalent is it's just gambling game. It's a gambling game. So you like
Okay,
use
yeah.
real world money and you roll for different types of characters. Roll, aka gamble.
Okay.
And so this girl was like, oh, like she was like, around my age, like, in her 20s maybe. And she was like, my little sister loves Genshin Impact, but she has negative Primo Gems. Primo Gems is the currency they use. And like, I don't know why that's
Okay.
happened. I'm so confused. She accidentally bought something, but then tried to refund it. Like, and she was like, at Genshin Impact, try to help me. Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
My little sister loves Genshin Impact. And, like, what's wrong with her account? Please reinstate her. But then all the comments were like, no, girl, like your sister probably bought hundreds of dollars worth of Genshin Impact money and then tried to
Oh,
refund it.
man.
And like, that's why her account is banned. So then she made a follow-up video and she was like, you guys were all right. She had spent a lot of my parents' money on these Primo Gems. And then when we realized that she had spent the money, she tried to go back on it. But it was so much money, my sister is grounded now. Because like Genshin Impact
Okay.
is straight up gambling. Like there's no other way to put it.
What are you playing through now? I mean, do you have time to play games now, or is it you're fully in development mode?
I'm always playing games, even though I'm in development
Okay.
mode. Currently, I'm playing a game called The Operator. It's a game set
Okay.
in a computer desktop. So it's like you're using a computer, but it's a simulated computer. And you're part of the
Okay.
FDI, aka the FBI. And there's cases. So you're the operator. Agents are the people doing the field work. And the operator is the
Okay.
one trying to do the research to find out what's happening. So let's say like an agent
Mm.
is trying to find someone who committed a crime and took like a photo of them. You see the photo and then you try to piece together what their name is, what the information is.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a research game and you have access to all these resources, but someone is trying to go against the FDI. Do you join the resistance or do you go along with the FDI? I'm playing that game right
Yeah.
now. It's pretty good. I'm really interested in these like limited storytelling games, for example, that take place inside a phone, but not a mobile game. Like
Yeah.
literally, the interface is a phone. Games where the interface is a computer. I'm very much interested in the idea that limitation breeds creativity, that through limitation, we
Yeah.
can think outside of the box. And so that's the restraint I'm putting on my own game. It's a game set in a computer. And so I'm trying to play similar games to see what they're doing.
Question, what game is banned in your house? Now, when I say banned, I don't mean like necessarily a parent banning the game from being in your house. What is it that you have said, nope, we're not doing this and this doesn't enter my household?
Honestly, for me, ironically, horror games. At this, like, so I like the psychological horror
Emily,
games, but like
what are we doing?
horror games with like the scary monster popping out at you. Like, there's a lot of I feel like really like popular
Okay.
indie horror games where it's like kind of like a shitty art style. But like that's the point. Like the art style is supposed to be not good, like all
Yeah.
asset flips, and then you like walk around a scary room, and then they like jump at you. Oh God, I hate those games. I don't enjoy them at all. That's probably like one that is definitely banned because
Okay.
I think like, I like to watch people play those games, but when it comes to me myself, I'm like, I'm a scaredy cat.
Okay.
They can dox
So I'm
me,
getting
but
it now.
they can't have a scary monster. That's where I draw the line.
So I think I'm getting it now. You like games where definitely it's a psychological element that makes you fear things more so than hey, boo. Like you don't like that stuff. It's games that you can think, oh my God, if I was in that situation, what would I do right now? And it messes with your mind more so than it messes with your other senses or your fight or flight sense to jump. Can I suggest a game which is a cross between the two that I actually loved, even though I don't like horror games? And it's a AAA title game now, but when it first came out, it wasn't. It was Alan Wake.
Oh, I knew that game. Is there a sequel now too? Yeah.
Yes, Alan Wake. So listen, I've been told Alan Wake 2 is scarier than number 1, and that's what's made me not buy it. Alan Wake, the first one I played was on the Xbox 360. They remastered it for the One, I think, afterwards as well. When I played it on the 360, it was basically this guy who, he was a writer, and everything that he wrote, he would write in the daytime and he would try to find ways to end his stories and to get to the next chapter. But in the nighttime, the things that he wrote or was about to write came to light. So everything that you see him developing in his story as an author is actually happening. It's either influencing him to keep writing or it's something that he's already pre-written. But the problem is he doesn't know that this is going on. It's like he has a rest, like a little nap, and he wakes up and it's nighttime. And all the ghoulish things that he's written or that is inspiring him to write, he now is actually doesn't realize he's either writing his own story or the story is writing his life out and he's experiencing it.
I've heard great things about Alan Wake, but I never knew its premise. It actually does sound really interesting.
Okay, so we have this section of the show called L and R. It's a quick fire game. I ask you questions. You get to pick L or R. You get to pick one or the other. That's the reason why it's called L and R, like a controller.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to tweak some of these only because some of these are, I think when I look at them, it's older stuff like Sega or Nintendo. Where actually, even though you have played on them.
Oh, I guess Nintendo. Actually, I just answered.
Can I ask, how old are you?
I'm 25.
You're 25. So even the 25 you're born in, so that's 1999 or 1998 if your birthday's coming up, right? So the Sega Dreamcast, was the last console that Sega made, and it was going out of commission as you were like a toddler. I'm going to tweak it. Mobile gaming or PC gaming?
PC. I think I just talked my shit about mobile games. I think it's obvious.
I already know this one. So we know it's going to be PC gaming. Cool. Super Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog?
Oh, Super Mario. Wait, I played Super Mario Wonder on the Switch lately. It was fantastic. You played
The
it too?
game
It
is.
was so
I've
fun.
played it. Listen, Emily, I completed. I've won. It's one of the hardest games that I've ever 100%ed,
Oh, it's
and
so
I
hard.
100%ed the game. Listen, have you completed it?
I've completed it, but I know there's like extra like levels that are super hard. I have not done those.
Oh, there was a
You're
level
a
where you
real one
got
for completing those.
Listen, I did a flight to New York. I sat down and did 5 hours of repeating one level where you have to time every jump that you
Yes.
do. Do you know what happens? Every stage you get through on that level, there's like they call it there's a final level. Like after you defeat Bowser, you go to a special world. There's what they call the final level. Then there's a final level. And then afterwards, there's the ultimate final level. The ultimate final level, I've completed it a few times now, but doing it the first time, you have to time everything, every part of the level. I used up about 78, 79 lives just to try and complete it.
Oh my gosh.
So Mario Wonder is a great game,
It's
but
so
once
good.
I completed that, it's such an amazing game. Good character choices or evil character choices? So are you against the FDI or are you for them? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, I think I always go evil because here's the thing. I consider myself not that evil in real life. So of course in a game I'm gonna be evil.
I'm the other way. I'm not evil in real life. Actually, let me not say that. I need to learn how to pick evil so I can get another aspect of a storyline. That probably would be better. I'm going to do that for a few games in future.
Well,
and actually be
I
evil
don't
and
like
see
to
what
pick like
happens.
the asshole choices, but for example, if it's
Yeah.
like a ballsy choice, I always pick the ballsy answer.
Okay. So are you right now in the game you were the one you're playing? Are you for or against the FDI?
I am right now playing the route where I am going with the resistance. Yeah.
All right. Well done to you. Only be able to play games you've already played and completed, or only be able to play new games you've never tried before.
Wait, definitely only play games I've never tried. I actually don't replay games. Rarely. So this
Serious?
is perfect for me, in fact.
Okay, I'm a nostalgia fiend. I love replaying games.
Oh, no, I rarely
love
do.
replaying games. Okay.
So this is
All right,
actually,
fair
that
enough.
wouldn't even be bad for me.
No, that's not a bad choice. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer in here. Okay. A partner who forever hates video games or a partner who forever beats you at every video game or any video game that you have.
I'm okay with them beating me. I'm actually not very
Yeah?
good, so I feel like it doesn't take a lot to beat me. Like, for
Okay,
example,
fair enough.
I remember for a game jam is where you make a game from scratch in a very short period of time, right? So we made a
Okay.
platformer and it's really hard. Like I literally can't even beat my own game. And I remember I was just trying to get footage
Okay.
for it to show on my Instagram to be like, here are some games I made in the past. I couldn't beat my own game. I made it and I couldn't
Serious.
play it. So you know what? It's all good.
There are people that do that. On Mario Maker, there are people that make absolutely crazy, uncompletable Mario levels. But there's a guy that I watch on Instagram, and he literally has his control pad, and he plays through all these impossible Super Mario Maker levels, and you're sitting there thinking,
I don't
how
know.
on earth is this even possible? And you know what if you watch them, he does it like he'll have to jump in the air, throw something up, know that it's going to bounce back later on, land on it to jump again. It's impossible. It's crazy. But there are people that create levels like that are damn near impossible to complete.
Yeah.
All right. TV shows and movies based on games, or games based on TV shows and movies.
I'm gonna say movies and TV shows based on games because Arcane. Arcane set the standard to be so great. And also, I
Yeah.
also have a dream of one day my game becoming a TV show or movie. So I'm gonna say that for my future self.
I pray that happens. I really do hope
Mhm.
that happens for you. Remember the little people when that happens and you're walking on the red carpet of your game going on to either a Netflix series or into the movies, okay? Just remember the little people like us. Okay, I've got one more for you as you're doing both at the same time. The programming element of the games you develop or the story writing element
Story.
of the games you
I hate
develop.
programming. I wish I could die. I wish I could get someone else to do it for me. But I sit
Fair
on the
enough.
dream. This is the thing. So I've been making games for a long time, and I also have not known how to code for a really long time. And I realized I was fed up of people assuming I know how to code. Like a lot of my comments are like, what did you study in college? Like, what language should I learn? And I'm like, I can't answer any of your questions. So I'm forcing myself so I can no longer be a phony.
You were not a phony just
Oh,
because you couldn't code. You can have the best program game, but if the storyline is terrible, then it's not going to hook people. And if you're somebody that prefers the storyline elements and you're talented in that, then you are not a phony. I'm going to sit here and say that right now. Okay?
Wholesome
And I'm saying that as well
podcast.
because thank you. There you go. Listen, Emily, thank you for joining us on the show. I really appreciate you for taking your time out to come here. I know it's 10 in the morning. You probably have to wake up a little bit earlier than most programmers might make up, especially if they've had a whole night of programming. But nonetheless, I appreciate you. If please let us know how people can follow, firstly, you, and then secondly, see where the updates for your game is going to be when it comes out.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube, Sondering Emily. Sondering is Sondering. In the next month, fingers crossed, I will be releasing the Steam page for my psychological horror game, Lily's World XD. You can wishlist it when it comes out.
Thank you very much. Make sure you follow Sondering Emily on social media platforms. Instagram, I'm going to do that right now as well. And you better do it as well at the same time that I'm doing it, ladies and gentlemen that's listening. Thank you very much, Emily, and we will catch up and stay in touch.
Yes, thank you.
You've been listening to Aurie Styla's Replay Gang. The show is written and presented by me, Aurie Styla, and produced by Matt Nida. Replay Gang is a Wild Ambitions production. Leave us a rating, tell your friends, and we'll be back with another episode next week.